She was once the radiant heart of Hollywood, a name that meant laughter, charm, and unforgettable beauty. From the sweet and innocent Toni Simmons in Cactus Flower, the role that won her an Oscar, to the confused but endearing Judy Benjamin in Private Benjamin, and the glamorous yet wounded Elise Elliott in The First Wives Club, Goldie Hawn touched millions of hearts with her grace, wit, and emotional depth. But today, Goldie has broken hearts once again, this time with a quiet confession: "I can barely see anything." Her world, once lit by fame and the flash of cameras, has faded into a silent struggle few have seen. How cruel it is that a woman who brought so much light to others now finds herself surrounded by such heartbreaking personal darkness. Before she became the dazzling blonde with a signature giggle and radiant screen presence, Goldie Jean Hawn was just a little girl growing up in Tacoma Park, Maryland, far from the chaos of Hollywood. Born on November 21, 1945, to Laura and Edward Hawn, her childhood seemed calm from the outside. Her mother ran a dance school, her father was a musician. But beneath that harmony was a quiet storm of persistent anxiety that began when she was very young. Long before she understood panic attacks, she experienced them, shadows that crept in, stealing her breath and tightening her chest. She feared war, loss, and even questioned whether she'd live long enough to have her first kiss. While other children dreamed of fame, Goldie simply wanted to be happy. At 11, when asked if she wanted to be a star, she calmly replied, "No, I just want to be happy." It was an answer that revealed a deep emotional world most didn't see. At school, Goldie struggled. She had difficulty reading and was placed in the lowest group, a painful experience for a sensitive child. But it was also the beginning of her resilience. She credits her second-grade teacher, Mrs. Povich, for saving her with gentle encouragement that made her feel seen and capable. By age 3, Goldie had found solace in ballet. Dance became her escape, not a performance for others, but a refuge where the noise in her head faded. She dreamed not of red carpets, but of running her own dance studio. Yet life had other plans. At 18, she moved to New York City for a dance job at the World's Fair, only to arrive and find herself alone and homeless. With no plan, she stayed briefly with a dance teacher, found an apartment, and pressed on, her first adult lesson in resilience. Small gigs turned into auditions. A new world was opening, but with it came overwhelming fear. As her career rose, so did her panic. She had full-blown anxiety attacks, shaking, chest pain, spiraling thoughts. Success felt like a trap. She didn't want fame, she wanted peace. At 21, she began therapy and for the next 8 years worked hard to understand her anxiety. Therapy and meditation helped her manage it slowly. It was a private battle fought while the world admired her glittering smile. Her mother's advice echoed, "Win the audience, and you'll earn your place." Goldie didn't chase fame, it found her. And she let the audience decide if she was worth remembering. Goldie's childhood wasn't filled with tragic headlines, but it was shaped by internal suffering, anxiety, doubt, and a desperate quest for calm. It built her character quietly. That deep humanity would become her greatest strength as an actress. She never meant to become a star. Yet in 1969, playing Toni Simmons in Cactus Flower changed everything. Her portrayal struck an emotional chord, and at just 24, she won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, without even knowing the award had aired. She was working, detached from the hype. That humble attitude would define her approach to fame for decades. Even in her rise through the 70s and 80s, she accepted roles with hesitation, not because of arrogance, but out of a need to protect her peace. She didn't want to be consumed by the industry. She wanted to create something meaningful. Still, her talent was undeniable. In Private Benjamin, 1980, she played a spoiled widow who joins the army and transforms, a role that earned her another Oscar nomination and reflected her own transformation, a woman learning to turn pain into strength, fear into laughter. Her roles weren't just entertaining, they were healing. Audiences saw themselves in her, confused, vulnerable, trying to be brave. And that, more than beauty or comedy, made her unforgettable. Goldie Hawn has played many characters throughout her career, each different, yet all anchored in emotional truth. Especially in The First Wives Club, her portrayal of Elise, a glamorous actress grappling with age, rejection, and heartbreak, felt deeply autobiographical. Goldie knew what it meant to be valued only for her looks, to be dismissed because of age, and she poured all that raw ache into Elise, transforming what could have been a caricature into a powerful commentary on womanhood in Hollywood. But perhaps her most courageous move wasn't in front of the camera, it was behind it. She became a producer not for prestige, but for freedom, for the ability to shape the stories that mattered to her. Her production company became her rebellion, a platform to tell the stories of real women, complex, flawed, and breathtaking in their imperfection. Throughout the decades, Goldie Hawn refused to be boxed in. She never chased fame. She chased authenticity, and in doing so, became more iconic than any award could ever make her. While she brought joy to millions, behind the curtain she fought her share of silent battles. Her life, once filled with flashing cameras and warm ovations, has in recent years slowed into something quieter, heavier, and sometimes devastatingly isolating. Her radiant smile remains, but the weight behind it is now heartbreakingly visible. In March 2025, Goldie shocked and moved millions when she stepped onto the Oscars stage beside Andrew Garfield. As she turned to read the teleprompter, she paused. The words didn't come. Her smile faltered. Then, with a small laugh that couldn't hide the truth, she admitted, "I'm completely blind. I am. Cataracts." That short, staggering sentence was a painful reminder that even the brightest stars can be swallowed by shadows. Cataracts are common with age, but for someone like Goldie, whose luminous eyes once lit up screens, the irony was cruel. The world she once saw so vividly now appeared through a clouded lens. And it wasn't just her vision that faded, it was the presence, the rhythm, the closeness that once defined her world. Long before this diagnosis, Goldie had already begun to feel herself disappear. Hollywood has never been kind to women who age. The roles thinned. The calls slowed. Her name, once on every marquee, now lingered in memory more than in headlines. But this retreat into silence didn't bring peace, it brought reflection, and it brought pain. Goldie has always been candid about her decades-long struggle with anxiety and panic attacks. From an early age, the pressure to perform, to please, to uphold an image she never wanted, became suffocating. At 21, she turned to therapy, not as a passing relief, but a full-hearted commitment to healing. For 8 years, she met weekly with a psychologist, slowly peeling back the layers of fear that had governed her life. Around the same time, she endured another deep wound, her first and only divorce. In 1969, she married Gus Triconis, a dancer and aspiring director, but their union buckled under the weight of Hollywood's demands and Goldie's rising fame. Though she rarely speaks of it, their quiet divorce in 1976 left an emotional scar, teaching her painful lessons in love, loss, and emotional survival. That early heartbreak lingered, shaping how she trusted, how she loved, and how fiercely she protected her heart. She once confessed that her anxiety didn't just live in her mind, it overtook her body. Her hands trembled, her chest would seize, and her thoughts spiraled into darkness so consuming it felt like drowning, alone, in a room full of air. As her fame climbed, so did the shadows. The spotlight that had given her everything also stripped her bare. Later in life, another heavy truth began to haunt her, not regrets about fame or missed roles, but about time. Time lost to sets, premieres, and flights, time not spent with her children. "I wish I could have been there more," she said once, her voice breaking. "I missed games. I missed moments. And those are things you can't get back." Despite that sorrow, Goldie built a family grounded in love. Her children, now grown, remain close. But even love doesn't always protect against loneliness. As friends passed and the world moved on, Goldie began reflecting more on her legacy than her career. Her work with the Mind Up Foundation became her lifeline. Using neuroscience, mindfulness, and emotional education, she helped children understand their brains and build resilience. It gave her a sense of purpose far deeper than the fleeting applause of fame. Still, even in advocacy, Goldie sometimes felt unseen. "I never wanted to be a star," she once admitted. "I just wanted to be happy." But happiness, in her later years, has become a fragile, fleeting thing. There are good days, days filled with laughter, grandchildren's joy, and soft music drifting through her home. But there are also darker days, marked by declining health, memories that sting, and the physical toll of aging. Cataracts, though treatable, are only part of the burden. Fatigue, fragility, and the slow erosion of independence have made public appearances rarer. When she does step into the light, fans still marvel at her glow. Few realize the immense courage it takes just to cross a stage. Inside her remains the girl who only wanted to dance, who dreamed of opening a ballet school, who once stood alone on 10th Avenue in New York City, homeless and terrified, and figured it out anyway. That girl never left. She simply grew older. And perhaps the most heartbreaking truth of all is that the more Goldie gave the world, the more it forgot how much she carried alone. As the applause fades and the cameras dim, what remains is the essence of Goldie Hawn, a woman of extraordinary emotional depth, relentless resilience, and a heart still quietly searching for joy. She doesn't ask for sympathy, only to be remembered not just for the light she gave, but for the darkness she survived. And perhaps, that is her most profound performance of all. Now, at 80 years old, Goldie Hawn lives a life no longer measured in premieres or awards, but in quiet mornings, soft conversations, and the joyful chaos of grandchildren's laughter. Far from Hollywood's glare, she surrounds herself with nature, love, and the few things that have always brought her peace. Her days are slower now, but not empty. She wakes with gratitude, meditates in stillness, and walks through her garden as if every flower were a poem written just for her. She has learned that true fulfillment doesn't come from being seen by millions, but from being truly known by a few. And through all of it, through the triumphs, the heartbreaks, the fading lights, Goldie has never truly walked alone. Her life partner, actor Kurt Russell, has stood faithfully by her side, a quiet force in her journey of endurance, love, and grace. For over 4 decades, Goldie Hawn has shared a love story with Kurt Russell that defies the fleeting romances so common in Hollywood. Their bond, free from wedding rings and ceremony, has stood the test of time, a grounding, steady presence in a world prone to unraveling. Together, they raised a blended family and built a life rooted in quiet strength and unwavering commitment. Their partnership wasn't declared on paper but lived through ordinary, faithful, enduring moments that became their own kind of vow. Goldie still dedicates herself to Mind UP, the children's mental wellness program she founded. Under her leadership, it has grown into a global force, reaching over 7 million children around the world. Through mindfulness, emotional education, and neuroscience, the program gives kids the tools to breathe through anxiety, focus their minds, and believe in their self-worth. For Goldie, this impact outweighs any box office success. What makes her legacy so remarkable isn't just the range of roles she portrayed, but the spirit behind it all. She has lived with laughter, yes, but also with deep conviction, unwavering courage, and a belief that joy is not stumbled upon, but cultivated through pain, resilience, and conscious choice. Her influence stretches far beyond the silver screen. To fellow artists, she's a symbol of integrity and reinvention. To women, she proves that beauty doesn't have an expiration date, and that a voice once silenced by ageism can still ring out with power. And to everyday people, especially those fighting invisible battles, Goldie Hawn is hope wrapped in grace. She may no longer headline blockbusters or dominate headlines, but her light hasn't dimmed, it has simply turned inward, shining where it matters most. Goldie Hawn's story today is one of purpose, not applause, of impact, not fame. In this quiet yet extraordinary legacy, she continues to shine. When old age arrives, someone once said, it doesn't shout, it whispers. And for Goldie, it has come gently, through slower steps, longer silences, and a soft fading of the vibrant light that once danced so effortlessly across stages and screens. Recently, the world received heartbreaking news. Goldie Hawn, the icon of laughter and joy, is now living with profound vision loss and fragile health. The woman whose eyes once lit up the world now navigates her days in growing shadows. It feels unbearably cruel that someone who gave so much brightness to others now finds herself surrounded by such stillness. But even in this sorrow, there is reverence. Goldie Hawn's life is a testament to grace under fire, to strength rooted in vulnerability, and to beauty that transcends time and appearance. Though she may no longer stand in the spotlight, her spirit, gentle, fierce, and luminously human, lives on in every soul she's touched. If you've ever laughed or cried with Goldie's performances, if her stories made your past feel vivid again, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let each video from Civ's Rewind be a journey back through time, a quiet tribute to the stars who shaped our hearts and the echoes they've left behind.